Aria Vale hit the creek in a full dive, pain screaming through her shoulders as ice water swallowed her. She forced her eyes open under the surface, kicked hard, and let the current drag her away from the bank where the pack would expect her to crawl out. Above, moonlight fractured into silver shards. Behind, the forest erupted with howls that sounded like laughter. She held her breath until her lungs burned, then surfaced only long enough to gulp air before plunging under again. The water stole her scent, but it also stole her warmth. Her hands went numb. Her ribs felt cracked where Brant Hale had booted her for sport. Her throat still tasted of blood from the last time she had tried to speak, and someone had silenced her with a fist. "Keep moving," she told herself. "Do not stop. Do not let them catch you." A flash of memory cut through the river roar. Kael Rowan, standing in the packyard, eyes hard as stone, voice carrying so everyone could hear. Rejected. Like the bond was filth. Like Aria was filth. The moment fate had finally offered her something that belonged to her, he had ripped it away in front of the entire Ironwood Pack. Her wolf surged at the memory, claws scraping inside her skin, begging to shift and answer humiliation with teeth. Aria forced the beast down. Shifting would give them a better target. Shifting would make it easier for them to call her an animal and kill her like one. She pushed downstream, counting strokes, promising herself she would reach the bend where the creek widened and the undertow weakened. She had done it before, back when escaping meant sneaking away for an hour of quiet, not fleeing for her life. Back when Nyla had been the only one to notice bruises and ask if Aria needed help. Back when Aloan Rusk had slipped her extra food and whispered that the world was larger than Ironwood's cruelty.
The current slammed her against a submerged rock. Pain flashed white. Aria gasped, swallowed water, and choked. Her grip on control snapped. Panic surged hot and sharp, and with it came exhaustion. Her arms failed. The river rolled her like a rag doll. No, not like this. Aria clawed at the surface, fingers scraping air, her lungs screaming. She reached the bank at the bend, found mud, and tried to haul herself up. Her hand slipped. She tried again. Her fingers went limp. The current took her. She went under, and the world narrowed to darkness and the thud of her own heartbeat. Her wolf howled inside her skull, furious and terrified, refusing to accept that this was the end. Aria fought, but strength drained out of her like heat. The surface above became a distant blur, the last place she could not reach. Then the river vanished. Not slowly, not like drowning. It was gone in an instant, replaced by a void that felt colder than death and heavier than stone. Something closed around her spine, not hands but intent, and dragged her through darkness that did not belong to water or sky. Aria tried to scream. No sound left her mouth. She crashed onto warm stone and coughed until her ribs screamed. Water poured from her throat. Her body convulsed, desperate for air. When she finally dragged in a breath, it tasted like smoke after lightning and metal left too long in rain. Aria rolled onto her side and forced her eyes open. Dimness pressed in, not night dimness, but a living dark that seemed to watch her. The ceiling above was high and lost to shadow. Faint red light pulsed through the darkness like veins. Her wolf lifted its head inside her, hackles raised. The beast did not recognize this place. That scared Aria more than the cold ever had. A soft sound came from behind her, like fabric sliding over stone. Aria pushed to her knees, fists raised. He stood there as if he had always been there. Tall, broad, wrapped in darkness that moved like breathing smoke. His eyes glowed ember red, steady and predatory. Heat rolled off him in waves, and Aria's skin prickled, expecting pain. "Where am I?" she rasped. "In the Gloomreach," he said, voice low and calm. The name hit her like a warning from Aloan's stories. Doors between worlds. Realms that did not welcome visitors. Beings that did not forgive mistakes. "Who are you?" Aria demanded, forcing steel into her voice even as her legs shook. He was suddenly closer, too fast to track. Aria's wolf slammed against her skin, begging to shift, but Aria held it. She would not give him the satisfaction of seeing her panic. "Noctis," he said, "ruler of this realm. Aria swallowed. Send me back." "No." Fury flared, bright enough to cut through fear. "You cannot keep me." "I can," Noctis replied. "You fell into my reach. You are under my rules now." "Rules?" Her whole life had been ruled by people who hated her. Rules that said her father's challenge had stained her blood. Rules that said she deserved punishment for existing. Rules that let Aldercrown's household treat her like a lesson. Aria rose unsteadily, jaw clenched. Then kill me. Noctis tilted his head, as if amused. If I wanted you dead, sunshine, you would be ash. Do not call me that. He circled her slowly, gaze dragging over bruises, torn skin, the tremor in her hands. You are supposed to burn, he murmured. What? Noctis lifted his hand. The air shimmered. Heat surged, dense and heavy, aimed at her chest. Aria braced for agony, for skin blistering and nerves screaming. Nothing happened. Warmth washed over her, startlingly gentle. Aria stared at her arms, at unmarked skin, at the absence of pain. Her wolf went still, confused, then alert. Noctis's eyes narrowed. Surprise flickered, brief but real. Interesting. Aria's fear changed shape. If she did not burn, she was not normal. If she was not normal, she was leverage. Why did you pull me? Aria demanded. Why me? Noctis stepped close enough that his heat pressed against her like a warning. Because someone tried to break you, he said. And I want to see what you become when you refuse. I am not your experiment. You are in my realm, Noctis said, voice sharpening. Everything here is mine. The darkness around him shifted, and for an instant, Aria saw the outline of something vast behind him, like wings carved from night. Her wolf whimpered, torn between fear and fascination. Noctis turned away as if the conversation was finished. You are hungry. You are injured. You will eat. You will heal. Then you will answer my questions. And if I refuse? Aria called after him. Noctis looked back over his shoulder. His smile was thin. Then you will learn what refusal costs in the Gloomreach. He vanished. One blink, and he was gone, leaving only heat and the taste of smoke. Aria stood alone, shaking with rage and shock. She pressed a hand to her chest. Beneath the ache of the broken bond, something new pulsed, faint and unfamiliar, like a second heartbeat waking up. She wanted to scream, to demand her life back, to curse Kael and Alder and every wolf who had ever watched her suffer and called it deserved. Instead, she swallowed the sound and forced herself to breathe. Screams were for people who believed someone would come. Aria did not believe in rescue. She believed in survival. Aria steadied her breath and swore she would not be owned again. Need. The word lodged in Aria's chest. In Ironwood, no one needed her. They used her, punished her, dismissed her. Here, a monster said he needed her, and it felt like a different kind of chain. On the third day, Noctis brought her out of the chamber. Corridors opened before them, carved from stone that seemed to drink light. Murk floated at Aria's shoulder, restless and protective. Aria did not know why the blob had attached itself to her, but she accepted it like she accepted anything useful, cautiously, and without surrender. They entered a hall lined with doors. Hundreds, then thousands, each carved differently, each breathing a different scent. Magic vibrated so thick that Aria's teeth hummed. Beings moved between the doors, shapes and forms that did not match any story Ironwood told its pups. Some had wings. Some had skin like water. Some wore armor that shone as if forged from the sun. And all of them flinched when Noctis passed. A small green-skinned creature rushed forward, eyes glossy black, grin too wide. He bowed fast, then looked at Aria with hungry curiosity. New, he chirped. Noctis's gaze cut to him. Puck. The creature beamed. Puck Grindle. Keeper of shelves. Finder of lost things. Recorder of strange events. You smell wrong, he added to Aria, delighted. Aria stiffened. Wrong how? Interesting wrong, Puck whispered. Like a page that refuses to stay blank. A silver-cloaked man approached, face calm, eyes sharp. He bowed to Noctis. Silas Wren, he said, then turned his gaze on Aria. So this is her. I have a name, Aria snapped. Silas's mouth twitched. Aria Vale. Rejected mate of Kael Rowan. Outcast of the Ironwood Pack. Anomaly of the Gloomreach. Aria's stomach dropped. How do you know that? News travels through gates faster than wolves can run, Silas said, tone mild but not kind. Especially when an alpha heir rejects a bond. and his rejected mate vanishes into a realm most packs pretend does not exist. Aria's chest tightened at Kael's name. The bond inside her twitched like an old wound. Rage followed. She hated that her wolf still reacted. She hated that fate did not care about her humiliation. Noctis's gaze sharpened. "They are hunting," he said. Silas nodded. "Kael is. And not only him." Aria forced the words out. "Why would he hunt me after he rejected me?" Silas's eyes were flat. "Because alphas hate loose ends. Because your existence makes him look weak. Because the bond still tugs at him whether he admits it or not." The truth tasted bitter, but it fit. Kael had rejected her as if he could reject consequences. Men like him did not accept being wrong. Noctis led Aria deeper into the archive of doors. "Each door connects to a realm," he said. "The Helio Gate Network binds them. Some trade. Some flee. Some wage war." "And you?" Aria shot back, claim. Noctis's smile was thin. "I protect what is mine." Aria met his gaze without blinking. "That is theft with prettier words." The air cooled. Shadows tightened around them as if listening. Noctis leaned close, heat brushing her cheek. "Careful," he murmured. Aria did not flinch. "What am I?" she asked, because the question mattered more than pride. "And what are you?" Noctis's expression tightened, as if he hated the question because it was fair. "That is the only question worth blood." Murk pulsed with agitation. Aria felt its warning before the scent hit her. Pine. Smoke. Storm. Kael. A door shuddered. The carved frame sparked with raw light. Kael Rowan stepped through, half-shifted, eyes blazing with fury and need. The mate bond inside Aria snapped taut, cruel, and alive. It yanked at her chest like a chain. Kael's voice boomed across the hall. "Aria Vale. You will come with me." Aria took a step back. The command scraped her mind. Weaker than it should have been, like a dull blade skidding off stone. She stared Kael down. "No." Shock crossed his face. His wolf snarled, pushing forward, and the sound cut through Aria's ribs. For a heartbeat, her wolf answered, yearning and furious, remembering what the bond had promised before Kael poisoned it. Kael's gaze flicked to Noctis. Hatred twisted his face. "Give her back," he growled. Noctis stepped forward, the darkness around him swelling like a tide. The closest beings in the hall scattered. "Take her," Noctis said softly, "if you can." Somewhere beyond the gates, Ironwood's hunters kept moving, and Aria felt them coming. Kael lunged. Shadows snapped up between them, a wall of living night. Kael hit it like a storm hitting a cliff. The impact cracked the air. Kael snarled, clawing, but the barrier held. Aria's pulse hammered as the hall trembled. Doors rattled. Magic flared. Silas moved to Aria's side. "Do not panic," he said sharply. "If you panic, the doors will react." Aria's laugh was breathless. "That is your advice." Murk bobbed higher, almost in front of her face, as if demanding she focus. Aria clamped down on terror. She had learned to survive by controlling what she could. She could control her breath. Kael pulled back, eyes locked on Aria. "You do not belong here," he said, voice raw. "You belong with your pack." "My pack tried to kill me." Aria spat. "You started it." Kael's jaw tightened. "I did what I had to." Aria's voice shook with rage. "You said the bond was filth. You made me filth. And now you want to pretend I am yours." Kael's eyes flashed, and for the first time, Aria saw something like regret cut through his fury. It lasted one heartbeat. Then pride swallowed it. "Come with me," he ordered again, softer, as if gentleness could erase what he had done. Aria's chest burned. The bond tugged. Her wolf whined. Aria turned her head and looked at Noctis instead. "He does not control me," she said. Noctis's gaze locked on her, bright and unreadable. "Prove it." Aria inhaled, dug her nails into her palms, and reached for the new pulse inside her chest. The second heartbeat. The part that did not belong to Ironwood or Kael. Shadows stirred at her feet, responding. Kael's eyes widened as the darkness shifted toward Aria like eager animals. The beings in the hall backed away further. Puck clapped his hands, delighted, then froze when Noctis glanced at him. Aria lifted her chin. "I am not going anywhere with you." Kael's wolf snarled again, frustration and hunger tangled. Then I will take you. Noctis laughed, low and dangerous. Try. The hall shuddered. Doors screamed open and shut as if the Helio Gate Network itself was unsettled. Silas grabbed Aria's arm. We leave, he snapped. Noctis's hand closed around Aria's wrist. The world folded. For a fraction of a second. Aria felt every door at once. Every realm tugging like 1,000 mouths. Then the archive vanished, replaced by stone corridors and the steady thrum of the Gloomreach. Aria wrenched her arm free. You dragged him here, she accused, voice shaking. The gates are not mine alone, Noctis replied. If Ironwood knows the paths, they can force them. Aria's rage turned sharp. Tell me the truth. Did you take me to use me? Silas answered before Noctis could. Everyone uses everyone across the Helio Gate Network, he said. The question is whether you survive the use. Aria stared at him, then at Noctis. And Eloan, she said suddenly, the name tasting like grief. Where is she? Silas's expression tightened. Noctis's eyes darkened. Dead, he said. The word slammed into Aria's chest. Eloan had been the only one in Ironwood who looked at Aria and saw a person. The only one who spoke of worlds beyond their pack like it was a promise, not a threat. How? Aria whispered. Silas spoke, voice clipped. Ritual. Powder. Blood. A sacrifice that carried shadow residue. Dr. Soren Quill directed it. Aria's vision blurred with rage. They killed her. They destroyed her body, Silas corrected. And used what remained. Aria's hands shook. Helplessness tried to crawl back into her ribs, old and familiar. She crushed it. No, she said, voice breaking and hardening at once. I am done being helpless. The shadows in the corridor thickened. Pieces of living night peeled from corners and gathered near her feet, curious and hungry. Noctis watched her with fierce focus. Show me, he said. Aria closed her eyes and reached inward. Her wolf was there, wounded by Kael's rejection, still furious. Beneath it, the second pulse lived, steady and alien. She touched it, and darkness poured through her veins, not burning, but filling. When she opened her eyes, small gloomlings hovered around her, waiting for her command. Footsteps pounded in the corridor. A figure stumbled into the chamber, breath ragged, hair damp with sweat. Nyla Saren. Aria. Nyla whispered, eyes wide with fear and determination. You have to listen. They are coming in numbers. Alder Crown is with them. And Quill is planning another sacrifice. Aria's stomach clenched. How did you get here? I followed ritual traces, Nyla said. They taught wolves to track doors. Silas went still. That should not be possible. It is, Nyla said, voice shaking. And they chose me. They said my blood will finish the spell. Aria's rage detonated. The corridor lights dimmed as her power surged. The gloomlings crowded closer, thrilled by it. Aria looked at Noctis and felt the shift in herself. The moment fear became purpose. Take me back, she said. Now. The shadows tightened, and Aria knew the next choice would decide who she became. Noctis did not hesitate. Shadows opened like a mouth, and the corridor bent into a path that smelled like smoke in winter. Nyla grabbed Aria's hand, knuckles white. Silas moved behind them, jaw tight. Merc pressed against Aria's shoulder as if bracing for impact. Aria stepped into the dark and felt the Helio Gate Network like veins under skin. A pressure that pulled and released in rhythms she could almost predict. Images flashed, doors and worlds, 1,000 ways to fall. Her stomach lurched. Nyla gagged, eyes squeezed shut. Silas muttered under his breath, steadying himself with knowledge and stubbornness. Noctis walked as if the path belonged to him, but Aria caught it, a fractional hitch when the darkness narrowed. Weakness. A crack in the monster. Aria stored it away. Not to use yet, but to remember that nothing was invincible, not even him. The gate spit them into cold air and familiar pine. Ironwood Hollow. The scent of home should have meant safety. For Aria it meant teeth and chains. Nyla pointed toward the school building, windows dark. Under there, she whispered. Aria's chest tightened. She remembered walking these halls with textbooks, pretending bruises were accidents. Pretending her stomach did not ache from hunger. She remembered the way wolves watched her like she was an infection. Noctis's presence pressed against her back, warm and heavy. "If you hesitate," he murmured, "you die." Aria bared her teeth. "I do not hesitate." They slipped through a service entrance and down into the sub-basement. The air changed, thick with sweat and ritual smoke. Voices echoed. Laughter. Celebration. Aria crouched by the stairwell and listened. The sound made her blood boil. They were cheering. She crept forward, moving along the rafters above a storage room filled with discarded props and broken stage pieces. Torches burned in a circle, light flickering over faces she knew too well. Aldercrown stood at the center, authority carved into his posture. His eyes were bright with triumph. Kael Rowan loomed nearby, half-shifted, arms crossed, gaze scanning the room like he was searching for her scent even now. Brant Hale laughed with other enforcers, the same laugh he had used when he kicked Aria and called it discipline. Dr. Soren Quill lifted a small bag of pale powder like a trophy. The room hushed, hungry. The powder procured from the explorer proved fruitful, Quill announced. Cheers erupted, fists pounding chests. Aria's stomach flipped. Explorer. Aloan. They reduced her to a label, as if naming her differently made murder cleaner. Quill's eyes gleamed. One virgin sacrifice and the magic of a shadow-tainted vessel allowed us to interrupt the gate path. The beast's reach is weakened. His doors will not open where he wills. A wolf shouted. Will he still punish us? Quill laughed, manic. According to the Wanderer, right before we destroyed her body for the spell, yes. He bleeds. He can die. Aria's vision went hot. Rage surged so hard she tasted metal. Nyla trembled beside her, silent tears streaking her face. Kael's head snapped up, nostrils flaring. He scented something. Aria's chest tightened as the bond twitched like a warning. Aldercrown lifted his hands for silence. Bring the next sacrifice, he ordered. Two wolves dragged a bound woman into the circle. Nyla's mother. Her face was bruised, eyes wide with terror. Nyla's breath hitched, and Aria grabbed her wrist to keep her from making a sound. Aldercrown's voice carried. Nyla Saren will follow. Her blood will seal the path and bind the gates. The room roared approval. Aria's grip on Nyla tightened. Not her. Not again. Noctis's voice slid into Aria's ear, so low only she could hear. Your choice, he said. Run or burn them. Aria's heart pounded. Running had kept her alive, but it had also kept them powerful. It had not saved Aloan. It would not save Nyla. She reached inward for the second pulse in her chest. The power answered like a door swinging open. Shadows thickened around the rafters. Murk quivered with excitement. Gloomlings gathered in the corners, unseen by the wolves below, waiting for permission. Aria dropped from the beam. She landed hard in the circle, knees bending to absorb the impact. Torches flickered. Wolves snapped into defensive stances. Gasps tore through the room as they recognized her. Kael's eyes locked on her, shock and fury colliding. Aria. Aria's voice was steady, even as her body trembled with adrenaline. You will not touch her, she said, and her gaze cut to Nyla's mother. Brant Hale lunged first, grin cruel. The traitor returned. Aria did not move. A gloomling struck, slamming into Brant's chest and throwing him back like he weighed nothing. He hit the floor with a choke and rolled, coughing, eyes wide with fear. Panic rippled through the pack. Kael surged forward, half-shifted, claws extended. The bond yanked at Aria's chest, trying to pull her toward him. Aria snarled and pushed back against it. You do not own me, she said through clenched teeth. Aldercrown barked an alpha command, power slamming into the room like a hammer. Kneel. The pressure hit Aria's mind, then slid off. Aria straightened. No Noctis appeared, stepping out of the darkness. The torches dimmed. Wolves flinched. Quill tried to move. Murk slammed into him. Aria stepped toward Quill, eyes burning. Aloan, she said. Quill spat. Necessary. Aria whispered. So was this. The gloomlings tore through the symbols. The air snapped. The floor cracked. Mist rose, alive with raw creation, reaching for Aria as it recognized her. It did not burn. It threaded through her fingers, eager to stay. Noctis grabbed her wrist. Do not take it. Aria looked at Nyla's mother, at Kael, At the pack that cheered murder, and she chose. She shoved the mist back into the fracture. Power ripped outward. The room convulsed. A voice slid into her mind. We will see each other again soon. The fracture sealed. Silence fell. Aria stood in wreckage, chest buzzing, the second heartbeat stronger. Nyla freed her mother, sobbing. Silas snapped, "Go." Aria turned from Kael's burning stare, and stepped into the shadows with Noctis. Murk circling her like a vow, knowing the doors now remembered her. Aria did not look away. If you want the next part, like the video, subscribe and comment. I am ready.